picture this. You're in your Tesla, you got the windows rolled down, you're listening to West Coast by Lana Del Rey on your way to Venice Beach to go check out the homeless people. Life is great. And then you wake up in your decrepit dorm room with $20,000 in loan debt, and you think to yourself, how am I supposed to get out of this? How am I supposed to build myself up from this debt to become a millionaire by the time I'm 40 years old? Well, I used to think that I'd be lucky enough to have a long-lost relative that would suddenly die, and a bunch of men would knock on my doorstep to tell me, hey, guess what? You had a long-lost uncle that just gave you $1 billion. Nice job. Well, unfortunately, this is not an Adam Sandler movie. It's real life, and it sucks. Well, with a lot of thinking, I've been able to come up with a way to become a millionaire by the time I'm 40. With a lot of scholarships and budgeting and working and investments, I've been able to achieve that goal. And I'm just about to show you right now. Before we begin, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Mary Anderson. I'm involved with many activities like show choir, track, cross country, drama club, National Honor Society, Spanish Honor Society, Interact Club, Key Club, student government, and so on. When I'm not busy with school, I love being around my friends and also going to historical places, which I grew up doing, and I love it so much. I also love reading the Federalist Papers, and I do it on my own time all the time. After surprisingly graduating from the Edison High School, it's time to make my next step, which is college. Growing up, I really wanted to go to Columbia University to follow in the footsteps of my idol. No, not him. Him, Alexander Hamilton. I was obsessed with him, and I really wanted to go to the same university as he did. But after taking CCP biology, I kind of realized, maybe the Ivy Leagues are just not for me. So I started searching for colleges and universities that best fit my personality and my interests and what I expected to see in a college atmosphere. My dad is a firm believer in starting early, so I spent my whole junior year visiting different colleges to see what they had to offer for me. College visits are the fun part of the college application process. It was so much fun being able to explore different schools to see which ones have your best interest. The colleges I looked at had about 2 qualifications. 1, being a liberal arts college, and 2, being smaller to medium size. It was also a plus if they had really great food, which some did. I was able to sit into some classes as well, which I liked the most because I was able to see what they were learning and if I believed that I would be able to handle that. And for the most part, I could. I didn't want to visit a ton of schools because choosing between too many schools would be a little bit too overwhelming. But in the end, I decided to go with Ashland University. Even though Ashland is right smack dab in the middle of Amish country, I really knew that I wanted to go to Ashland because of the Ashbrook program. For a week out of 2 of my summers, I went to Ashland to take summer courses for high school students, and that's where I really found my love for history and political science. I met so many great people and so many great professors who were just as nerdy as me about history and political science, and I just knew it was the place where I wanted to go. At Ashland University, I will be majoring in history and minoring in art history. Majoring in history then means I will be a part of the Ashbrook program. Growing up, I really wanted to get out of Ohio, but when you look at the difference for out-of-state tuition versus in-state tuition, it does not seem like the best option. Tuition for Ashland as an in-state student is about $27,720 per year. The tuition is fixed for every year. General fees are about $1,190, and then onto housing. I'll have the choice between 2 different housing options. I could either stay in the Clayton Hall, which is the honors program dorms, or I could stay in the Andrews Hall, which is the Ashbrook program dorms. Clayton is more expensive at $7,720 per year compared to Andrews at $6,580 per year. To play it smart, I will choose to stay in Andrews, even though Clayton is way nicer. Andrews is closer to the food, so it's a win-win. Speaking of food, all freshmen are required to have the Purple Plan meal at $2,730. It includes unlimited meals, and then for books and supplies will be about $912 and other miscellaneous expenses at $2,766. which brings me at a total of $39,168 for the year. Okay, so currently I am at Cedar Point, which is where I work. So this is where I'm going to be making my money for college. Unfortunately, Cedar Point has a strict phone policy, so I can't film when I do, but I can kind of show you like what I make. So this is the amount of money I made in the summer of 2022, working my first season at Cedar Point. Unfortunately, I joined the wagon a little bit too late and did not get the $20 per hour, but instead I got the $15 per hour, which is still like pretty good. It's not bad at all. However, it's not $20 an hour, so that's very unfortunate for me. But saying that I only worked 5 days a week for like 7-ish hours for 3 months, I'd say almost 5,000 is pretty good. But instead of saving that, I decided to spend all of it and more on a trip to Italy. But I continued to work there for the next 2 summers, and they increased my pay by 50 cents. So in the summer of 2023, I worked for $15.50, and then for the summer of 2024, I worked for $16. So once again, not horrible. I would estimate I made about $10,000 in total for those 2 years then. So, obviously, that $10,000 is not going to cover all of my tuition and fees over the year, so I'll be looking at scholarship possibilities that I could receive. So, starting off for my ACT, I have the possibility to be awarded $1,000, even though I would not be staying in the honors dorm. Like I said, I decided to stay in the Andrews dorms for the Ashbrook program because it is less expensive. I will still be able to receive a renewable $1,500 scholarship for as long as I keep my academics up. I was also thinking about taking Latin because I take Spanish now, and even though I don't really like it, I think Latin would be a really cool language to learn. My mom told me it's very hard, and I agree, it probably will be. However, I will be awarded a renewable $1,000 scholarship if I take Latin. So every single year I take it, I'll get a $1,000 scholarship for that. So money is money, huh? I also get a $1,000 scholarship for just visiting campus, which I found very interesting. I think that was very cool. And then for my bigger scholarship, I have the opportunity to be awarded $14,000 renewable scholarship for every year as long as I maintain a 3.5 GPA throughout college. Okay, moving on to other forms of payments. So I talked to my parents about if they will be graciously giving me any money for college, or other relatives, or if I'm just on my own. Well, fortunately, they told me that in my 529 plan, I have about $8,000. And then, like I said, I have the $10,000 that I worked for. And then my grandpa is giving me $15,000. I think he was also nice enough to give all of us $15,000. So thank you, Grandpa. And then I'll be receiving $20,000 from my parents. So from that, I'll have a total of $53,000 from me, my 529 plan, and then my grandpa and my parents. I also think it's very important to mention that with the amount of credits I received from high school, I will be able to graduate college in 3 years. So that's another year of college tuition and payments that I don't have to pay for. So take those CCP classes because they'll pay off in the future. So other than my summer job, the job that I will have during the school year will be at the Rite Aid in Ashland. It's literally like a 5-minute walk away from my dorm, so I would not have to like use gas or anything like that. And I am planning on only working Sundays, so out of the school year that would be about like 90 days of working, and I would get paid $15 an hour. So I'd be working 270 days in 3 years. And I would say I would work like 8 hours, so I would say about 32,400 in total I would make. Okay, so with that being said, the total college payment after 3 years is $117,504. Everything afterwards is the amount of scholarship money I was awarded, plus also money given to by my parents and my grandpa, and then what I have in my 529. The $10,000 at the end is what I earned over the 2 summers I worked at Cedar Point before I went to college. And then also this set doesn't include the additional 15 that I would have earned over the next 3 summers during college. And then also over the school year working at Rite Aid, which I would have earned, like I said, the 15 an hour. So then after all that subtraction, I would have 1,004, and then I can just take the money from from when I worked at Cedar Point or Rite Aid, and then just get rid of all that, and I'd be left with $0 to pay. With the money I earned working in college, I earned about $46,396. $3,000 of that will go into investments in Vanguard after a 20-year period with a return rate of 6%, compounded annually, and I will add $600 monthly. After that, I will have $43,396, and that will go into my savings account for housing and cars and other expenses as well. For my car, I'll be buying a used car with a lot of miles on it, but it's not overly expensive. After college, I'll be moving down to North Charleston, South Carolina, where I'll be purchasing this apartment at $139,000, and I will have a 30-year fixed payment on it with a 7% interest. I will put a 20% down payment, which would be $27,800, and then it would be $845 per month. So my plan is to go to College of Charleston for my graduate program, and what my plan was is that I will move down to Charleston and stay there for a year, work a little bit, and then be able to obtain in-state tuition, because if you live in South Carolina for a year, you can gain in-state tuition. So my plan is to live there for a year, get the in-state tuition, so graduate school does not cost as much as it would for an out-of-state student. Like I said, for the career I want to pursue, I would need to go to graduate school, and my plan is to attend College of Charleston. I studied history and art history at Ashland, and I want to use that to be in historic preservation. The Historic Preservation Program at the College of Charleston focuses on the study and practice of preserving and conserving historic buildings, neighborhoods, and cultural heritage sites. At the graduate level, the College of Charleston offers a Master of Science in Historic Preservation. This program further delves into aspects of preservation and equips students with advanced knowledge and skills necessary for professional practice. Graduate students have the opportunity to specialize in areas such as preserving planning, architectural conservation, heritage tourism, and community engagement. So the cost of tuition for in-state residence is $6,918 per year, and then going on to the fees is tech and library fees at $230, room and board $12,761, miscellaneous fees at $2,012, books at $894, and then a loan at $207, for a total of $46,044 over the 2 years. In order to pay off graduate school as well as housing, I will be a carriage tour guide for Palmetto Tours, and they make about $48,346 per year. So for the total 3 years I will work there, I'll make about $145,038. So after graduate school, I will obviously want to be a architectural historian, which it's pretty much the same thing as a historic preservationist. And my salary will be at about $92,632. However, of course, with taxes included, instead of making that $92,632 per year, I'm really making $66,415 per year. After about working 10 years of experience, by the age of 33 years old, I will have enough qualifications to become the Director of Preservation and Urban Design / City Architect, and at that point I'll be able to make $115,354, so that's a big step up from what I was making before. So then now, as you can see, that $115,354 then becomes $80,543 because of taxes. So after I calculate the total amount of money that I made from working at Cedar Point in Rite Aid, being a tour guide, historic preservation, being the city architect, and my investments, I made $1,566,385. And then for the money that I spent over 20 years would be my house, graduate school, groceries, clothes, my car, gas, car insurance, and then the start for my investment, and then my 600 monthly contributions that I would owe $490,269. And when I subtract those two numbers together, by the time I'm 40 years old, I'll have $1,076,116. So obviously historic preservationists don't make the most money in the world, and I feel like that's what I struggled with the most in this project was, doing something that I really love, but also trying to make that million, especially having to go to graduate school. It made it really hard, but obviously I was able to do it. And I guess in the long run, I'm just trying to say that, do what you want to do, not because it has a lot of money, but because you really want to do it. And I mean, I know sometimes that there's a correlation between that, but even though my job wouldn't make a lot of money, it's still something that I'm passionate about and something that I love. So I'm obviously still gonna do it, unless if it's just really bad, then I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, I guess that's just my advice. I know we hear it all the time because of college and career, but yeah.